All right, this is Ed Carbajal with Spectation Sports, speaking with Julius Anglickas, who faces Phil Hawes on November 2nd at Ignite Fights MECCA 23. Julius, thank you again for making time to do this interview.
Thank you for having me.
Um, so there's a lot of stuff I want to ask you. As I said before we started recording, I mean, I had you had been on my radar before I was with Spectation Sports when you were fighting at Bellator and everything like that. Um, this matchup on paper, Phil Hawes has kind of like similar experience as far as like where have you fought, where you guys have fought before and stuff like that. So, just talk to me about how you're feeling when the match got made and how you got the news and like everything coming together for you against an opponent like him because he's fair. He's I feel like you guys are kind of like on paper on the same level as far as this is probably the one of the best matchups I've seen in a while that jumped out at me when I saw it.
Yeah, we've been trying to find a fight for a while. I was hurt since last June till like February or so, and after that, we've just been trying to find fights. Nothing's been happening, and for this coming up show, he's my third opponent, I believe. We signed the contract with one guy, and he had some personal issues, so he had to like step down from the fight. Um, then I thought I was gonna fight another PFL guy. And then Phil popped up. He said he's taking it. We got the contract. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, we were just happy to get the name. Just, yeah, we couldn't find nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it looks like this is happening. So, yeah, I guess he got cut from UFC. I had my setbacks. So we're both going to be looking up to get back in the big league. So I think we're both going to try really, really hard in this fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's the first thing I thought when I saw the two names together. You mentioned injury because I know you had I know you fought in kickboxing. You picked up a win there. So was the injury from kickboxing or was it
No, no,
before
no.
kickboxing?
That was, yeah, my injury was last summer.
Okay.
Had like a big sprain in the where the collarbone meets in your sternum.
Ooh.
So yeah, the whole thing was clicking, moving, shifting around. I'm like, wait, what? When did this happen? So yeah, it was like a very bad sprain. So I had to not do anything for a while.
So like it's not like a tear or anything though, just a sprain that.
Yeah, yeah. They said it maybe it was a small tear, but
Mm,
nothing bad. So they said you'll be all right. Just do your rehabs. It took a while. It took much longer than I thought.
yeah.
Um, but because that's the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can relate to that. I actually have a thing from 2016 that's it doesn't seem to want to go away, but I'm
Yeah.
also very old, so just so that you know I'm in my late 40s. But speaking of your background and stuff like that, just can you talk to me about like because again I had only started watching your fights when you were with Bellator, but I know you've been fighting since like 2014. So can you just talk about how you got into MMA specifically? Like, what drew you to the sport?
Uh, so like I transferred to Missouri to do my wrestling, and that's where like I bumped into like some fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Before I used to think like, ooh, like these are some special guys, some like you don't know where they are, because like I was in New York, so I wasn't surrounded by it,
Hmm.
or maybe it wasn't popular as much there. I don't know. But yeah, when I came to Missouri, it's like there was a gym here, gym over there, gym there, and everybody's fighting, everybody's keeping it casual. Um, One of the assistant coaches at Mobap was Alp Oskulic. He fought in UFC, so he kind of introduced me to the gym
Mm-hmm.
in St. Louis, and but I still didn't have card. I had wrestling school full time, so I kind of waited till wrestling was done, and I started doing my masters, and I had like more time during masters than previous years. Plus, I had a car, so I was like, okay, cool, wrestling is done, but I would have missed that thing of competing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was like, all right, I wrestled. Let's try something a little extra crazy. and I decided to fight, and yeah, I just kept it casual. My parents thought I was just going through a phase, or I was like not serious just
Yeah.
because I said it like that. I was like, yeah, I think we're gonna fight, and just never looked back again.
Yeah. That's fun. I can relate to the parents thing too, because as a hobbyist, they're like, when are you gonna stop doing it? And obviously,
Right.
um, the you're, I guess it's safe to say that because you said all the wrestling you did, wrestling is kind of what got you in. Do you consider that your base? I mean, with the record you have, it shows you're a well-rounded fighter now. But was that like a? Did you consider yourself I'm a wrestler that I'm adding to the toolbox, or like because I didn't I wouldn't have picked up on the wrestling background because of the fights that I've seen. I mean, you seem I actually thought you were a striker, so like.
Yeah, it was on and off. It's like, okay, cool. Yes, you have wrestling background.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, you starting off with like something solid, but just because I didn't do too much striking,
mm-hmm,
it's like I was eager to learn a little bit more of that. So I think I kind of pushed wrestling to the side a little bit
mm,
to learn all the other new things that I was exposed to. Um, and I think maybe a few times I went a little too far into striking just because I was like abandoning wrestling completely. And then I'm like,
mm-hmm,
okay, yeah, I need to get back on that. So then I went back on wrestling, but then I think I went like too much into that, abandoned some striking, and now I'm just like, okay, I need to do both.
mm-hmm,
I need to expect my opponents to do both. I can't just depend on one thing and
mm,
go with that. Like, no, I need to touch up on everything equally, um, and not think anymore like, ooh, I'm a striker, ooh, I'm a grappler.
yeah,
No, I had to like just throw that out of the window and focus on both equally.
yeah, for sure. And through your journey, I mean, one thing you do share with your opponent, like you guys have been in some of the same places, Contender Series and Bellator, and all the other places that you guys have fought in. Um, One thing that kind of like makes me wonder is how do you, when you approach a fight, not just this fight with Hawes, but in general now with everything you just said, um, are you someone that watches tape on opponents, or is it, are you kind of just like, let me be fight ready, and as soon as the cage door closes, I see what they give me? Do you kind of like have a game plan, or you prefer to just, what did Hickson say, flow with the go?
It's like I don't want to watch the tape
Mm-hmm.
because like, oh, it gives you anxiety, gets you worked up.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, every time I watch the tape, it's like, oh my god, this guy's good. Like with anybody, with any
Mm-hmm.
opponent, and then my teammates would watch and be like, no, you better, because I don't see myself as anything. Like I definitely need to put more trust in myself and believe myself more. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I watch footage, I'm like, oh my god, this is scary. He's good, and everyone else is like, Julius, you're gonna piece him up. Um, so I do watch videos just to see what to expect, but I usually try to just like watch it early in the camp. Okay, make all the mental notes, and then you don't have to watch after that.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, there's been some fights where I didn't watch at all. Some fights where I watched a little bit, but yeah, not too crazy on it.
I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, talking about footage, there's a lot of footage on your upcoming opponent, Hawes. How do you see yourself, like, as far as the, on paper, from your perspective? How do you measure up against him?
Well, I know he's been like finished quite a few times, and people say he's like chinny. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to put any disrespect on him,
Mm-hmm.
but but I mean that is a factor, and I guess like you said, like me looking a little bit more like a striker, I feel like I could secure the fight that way. He's a solid wrestler, strong. Um, so I'm gonna just have to not let him get close to do his thing, but at the same time, I can't expect him just to wrestle either.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know he was supposed to have a boxing fight coming up, so maybe he's trying to fix that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But stuff the shot, piece him up. That's the game plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would assume that's your prediction too, right? Like if somebody asks you how do you predict a fight goes, that'd be the same answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to say, just because of what you just said, like you never want to watch something and because it can give you a false sense of security, right? You said something about watching the tape early. Like I think that's probably a mistake a lot of fighters make. Maybe they watch it too close, like to fight night, and then they think they're going to see what they just saw, and it kind of like it works against them. I don't know
Mhm.
if you agree with that or not with your experience, but that it just sounds like what you're doing is way smarter, doing it, watching it early in your camp.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends like what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I hate the anxiety. Like people don't know that, but like I had crazy anxiety in every single wrestling match. I
Mm-hmm.
could go in the fight or wrestling match knowing that I'm gonna beat the guy, but I'm still like anxiety is through the roof. You need it. It
Yeah.
helps. It keeps you at the fight or flight, but you hate it, but you need it. Sometimes you don't want to deal with it. So should I be watching film throughout the whole camp all the time, every day? Sure, it would help.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. The more time you put in, the more you get out of it. But yeah, I guess for the way I've been brought up with through my history, it's just yeah, I'll watch the beginning, make some mental notes. Okay, he's good at this, and that. Okay, we're gonna prepare with this. I mean, what else can change within 2 months?
Mm.
So
Yeah, that's surprising to hear about the anxiety. You seem like a pretty even keel guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like I mean, not the competition anxiety. I know that the fight or flight and all that's normal
mhm.
when anyone's going to do anything. But just hearing you say it because of the way you're carrying yourself now as we're speaking versus when fight night comes. I mean, to me, you come off as super focused, but that's probably just the anxiety too, like making you
Yeah,
focus.
yeah. I mean, it's always been there. I'm not afraid to admit it, and yet people are always surprised about it. So I don't know if everybody's feeling this way and they just not saying it.
Hmm.
Where I'm just like, yeah, that's how I feel. Whatever. Like, well, you're gonna like use it against me. You're gonna try to give me more anxiety. No, it has worked into my benefit. Do I like it? No, but it has worked to my benefit. Yeah, it keeps you fight or flight. So the people say, oh, you can't say that because people gonna use it against you.
Hmm.
Okay, fucking use it. Like we're still gonna fight.
Yeah, yeah. For
So
sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just your mind telling your body to be ready for action, right?
right.
That's what it is. So,
Mhm.
well, Julius, I mean, this was great for me. I mean, again, a fan of watching your past fights, and I'm looking forward to this one. Both you guys, I watched him too way back when he was in WSOF. I'm expecting a fun fight. Thank you again for making time to talk. If you have sponsors or anything that you want to shout out before we close the interview, please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my main one, Hill Street Boxing, in East Coast, Long Island, Southampton. That's where I grew up when I came to United States. So Hill Street Boxing has been helping me a lot. They've been helping me since since LFA title fight. So they've been in my corner for quite a few years. So yeah, shout out to them.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again, Julius, and good luck to you again. It's Ignite Fights MECCA 23, November 2nd on Spectation Sports.
Thank you.
Thank you.